Hello, everyone. How you doing? All right. So I'm not sure how long it's been. I think like a month or so maybe since I've done a video. So I'm gonna do another one. It's kind of on spiritual attack, things like that. So I've done videos like that before, and this is gonna be similar. So this will be kind of like that, and it's gonna tie in with yoga. So I'm not an expert on yoga, not an expert on chakras and all of that, and energy centers and all of that stuff. I'm becoming familiar with it very quickly. Uh, so that's good, I guess. It's not something as a Christian, I had no experience with it at all. As far as I know, it doesn't speak of it in the Bible. That's my understanding. I've never seen anything like it or that term, but I'm definitely becoming familiar with it. So I wanted to share that experience with you. Should I make this video? Um, Maybe, I guess. For Christians out there, will it be interesting and informative? I hope so. I hope it is. I hope you get something out of it, and it might be a little scary, to know that this stuff exists because I had no idea it existed before, and now I I get it, because I've experienced it. I haven't. It's not like something I've read about. I have read some stuff about it, but it's different when you experience it yourself. You're not. It's not like you're reading it and you're like, oh, I wonder what that was like, back then when that happened and all that. And like, no, it's literally happened and is happening to me personally. So I have, firsthand knowledge of it and I can speak about that. So we're going to be talking about yoga and Kundalini. I don't know how you pronounce it. Kundalini, I guess. So we'll be talking about that. Just quickly, right off the bat, just to get this out of the way in case you cut the video off, you don't have time for it. Like, as a Christian, should you be doing yoga? And I think the very easy answer to that is no. You absolutely should not. You're going to be doing all sorts of very strange animalistic poses in public in an exhibitionist fashion, dressed extremely immodestly so as to make others fall. You're either going to prop up, with these yoga pants and all this stuff you're going to have on, doing this stuff in public. You're going to prop your own pride up like exponentially because you're going to put those pants on. It's going to make you feel good. You're going to feel tight and whatever else and pretty and lustful and all of this nonsense. And that's before we even get into the snake thing, which I'll talk about here in detail. So, should Christians do yoga? I'll just give you the quick answer. Like I said, in case you don't have time for the video. No, you should not be doing yoga. Should you be doing it like in a weird kid, like privately in your home with nobody else around in your little weird, disgusting yoga pants that you should absolutely never wear out in public, ever. Don't ever put them on and go out in public. And I don't think you should even wear them because even at home, right? Out in public, we all know. Absolutely not. If you don't know what yoga pants does, then you should do a study and you should monitor men's eyeballs as you waltz around in your yoga pants with them riding up and looking like, your butt's eating them. So, no, you absolutely should not. It's going to create pride in you. It's going to create lust in others. There's probably a whole other myriad of things it could cause. But no, because I know how men operate because I am a man. I am a human person, right? The son of man, whatever term you'd like to use. So I'm a regular human being just like you. And I understand and I've grown up. And for the vast majority of my life, I was a regular, normal person, worldly person. We'll put it that way. A worldly, very sinful person, worried about money and retirement and cars and women and things like that, right? And having fun and toys and all this stuff. I was living in the world and I wasn't like a horrible person. I wasn't running around punching people and beating people up. And yes, I gave money to charity and I considered myself a good person by my standards, by worldly standards. Looking at this nonsense that's going on with all the shootings and rapings and beating people up and stealing and doing anything, right? You do anything to take care of yourself and damn everybody else. So by worldly standards, I was a pretty good guy, and I was a vegan at this point. I was going to church, like towards the latter part of my life. I really started to clean up, and that's when everything got ramped up. I didn't, God didn't pick me up until I had already cleaned up. for the most part. I still had sins in my life, and I still do. But by worldly standards, I thought I was a pretty good person. I was completely distracted by the world and finances and fun and things like that. But I didn't know any better. Um, that's just where I was, and this is where I am today. But like I said, we'll get back on topic. You know how my brain works. Yoga pants, absolutely out. Yoga, it's prideful, it's exhibitionism. You're doing all these weird animalistic poses, which, you know, and they do these things co-ed, like you got guys and girls in there doing, no, absolutely not. And these women shouldn't be wearing this stuff out in public. And from these walking videos I'm watching, like, I'm not saying that's the least of the problems. That's definitely one of the worst out there, but that mini skirts, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. People have no idea how to dress themselves. Like, if your goal was to dress in such a way that you upset God, we do a really good job at that. Like, if you want to look like a harlot, and that's for men and women, that's males and females. I'm not just harping on the females here because I'm a little biased because I'm in a guy's body. But, if we wanted to dress and act in such a way that we rebelled against God's laws and commandments, we do a really good job at it. Here, we do a good job. Like, if you want to be a rebellious person, you're in the right place. This is the spot. This is a place where we can be rebellious, and everyone here, well, I mean, not everyone, I won't say that, but a lot of the people here are rebellious in some way. Like, there's various degrees, right? You could be like some dictator who just doesn't care, is just killing everybody. You could be a prostitute or what. I'm not going to go through all the different various ways because I don't want to single people out. But you can be on that spectrum, right? You can be like super, super bad, or you can be, close to being, as good as perfect as we can get here. But to get back on topic, so no yoga, no yoga pants, immodesty, huge problem. There's various other issues with our dress that I won't even go into at this point. I've already done videos on that. So let's try to keep it focused here. I don't want to drag this on too long. I know it's Sunday. You'll have church to go to and other things to do. So we're going to talk about yoga. We're going to talk about energy centers. We're going to talk about Kundalini snakes. We're going to talk about portals to other dimensions, whatever that might be. And so I'll just tell you my experience and what's going on in my life. And then, you can decide, right? You make a decision for yourself. You decide. I'll just explain to you what's happening to me and my experience, and then I will leave it with you. And then you can pray to God, you can work with God, and you can figure these things out and make a decision for yourself. But your first decision should probably be to go find those yoga pants and burn them, or throw them away or whatever. I wouldn't even donate them because you don't want to see anybody else walking around in that trash. We got enough harlots in these streets, and we don't need to add to that number. So let's go over here, and hopefully you can see this. So I'm not sure how I'm going to start there. We're just going to start talking, and we'll get to what I want to talk about eventually at some point in time. But this Kundalini snake, what a weird concept. I've heard of this thing before. I've heard the term used before. I'm not an expert on yoga. I'm not an expert on energy centers, although I'm getting very familiar with it as time goes on. Especially, I should have pulled up the one that shows the different chakras and all that stuff. Let me try that real quick. I don't want to go crazy on this. Give me 1 second. What are the chakras? Here, let's do this one right here. Right. So you can see this one, right? So this is what they say. This is the common understanding, right? You have the crown chakra at the top there, the third eye, throat chakra. I think the third eye, like when you're glowing and things, I guess that's where that's coming from. The heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral, and root chakra. So the ones that I'm experiencing the most, I mean, except for like the third eye, I guess I'm experiencing all of them, to be quite honest. But the problematic ones, let me say that. The problematic ones that I'm dealing with this whole Kundalini snake and all this nonsense and the portals, it's going to be the root and the sacral. Those are the ones that I'm dealing with, that I'm being tormented by, if I'm being honest, that are causing these massive lust. I'm talking, this is not normal lust, and it's absolutely not love, and it's nothing like godly love. I don't know how to describe it, and I'll explain the whole process as it happens, and I don't know what you're going to think. once I explain how this happens, I have no idea what you're going to think about that or me, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Because if I don't tell you, you're not going to know. Should I tell you? Probably not. If I was really smart and I wanted to like make sure my image is super clean and I'm pristine and well, not pristine, I don't think I could ever be that. But if I wanted to keep my image as clean as possible, I wouldn't make this video. And that's the truth, right? If I was worried about like advertisers and marketing and protecting my image, and let's say I had a PR team and I walked into that PR team today and said, hey, I want to do this video. It's about chakras and yoga, and it's about like demonic attacks and Satan and lust and all this stuff and portals to other dimensions. If I wanted to do that, my PR team, and I said, hey, that's my pitch. I'm pitching this to you. I'm at the coffee table, even though I'm not drinking coffee, but that's my pitch. I could only imagine how they would look at me, how they would just stare at me like, this guy's an idiot. You're telling me like you're supposed to be like preaching Christianity and all this, and you want to talk about chakras and yoga and Kundalini snakes and portals to other dimensions? No, you cannot do that video. If you do that, it's not going to go well. And that's probably what they would say, right? Same thing as if, okay, let's say I wanted to do a 40-day fast, a water fast or a dry fast, either one. Any doctor in the world that wasn't, I don't know, spiritist or a Christian, let's be honest, a Christian. So if they were like a Christian doctor, I don't even think then. Be like, hey, I want to fast for 40 days, no food. Or I want to fast for 4 days and be crazy, no food and no water, right? Like a Moses fast. You got like a Jesus fast, you got a Moses fast. So they would say, no, you're crazy. And the same thing if I had a PR team, like a Christian PR team, I say, hey, I want to do this video. I want to do it on Sunday. No, absolutely not. Do not do it. So I can't listen to anyone. I got to listen to myself, which I don't know if that's a good thing. But so these are the chakras. Not an expert. I'm learning through experience. It's like on the job training through Satan and his demons and all this other stuff. So I'm getting my ass kicked every single day, every night. And I do it for you. And I hope you learned something from it. But these are the chakras. The main ones I'm having the problem with here are this root chakra and this sacral. Solar plexus, I felt, yes. Heart, sometimes with the like the tentacles or whatever, when they're like feeding and things like that. Throat chakra, not so much, I don't think. That's probably the least of it. Is probably the least when I deal with third eye for sure, like perceptions and things like that in the crown. So I can pretty much attest to most of these. I've experienced them all in some form or fashion, and obviously the third eye for like seeing the spiritual and like seeing this crazy world that we live in that I couldn't see at all before. Like I lived in physical reality before, and now this is like some kind of spiritual matrix. It's kind of how it feels. But let me go back to this, and we'll get back on topic with the yoga snakes. So I've been under spiritual attack now for, I don't know, it feels like months. You could probably check. I'm not good with dates. I'm not sleeping well. I might look a little frazzled. I get 1, maybe 2 hours of sleep a night, and I won't even call them good hours. They are, if that's 2 hours, that's like little chunks of time, like 30 minutes here, 45 minutes there, that I can like piece together. And if I added them all up, it would probably be 2 hours if I had to guess. And it's a combination of these attacks, right? These attacks of lust. And I'm not talking about theoretical lustful attacks. I'm not talking about theoretical snakes coming from other dimensions, okay? I'm not talking about theory. I'm talking about practically. I'm talking about that thing right there showing up, crawling into my butt, coiling around in my body, and basically exploding my intestines into like gas pockets is the best way I can describe it. And I'll go through this more in detail. I'll go through it. But just overall, high level, right? 30,000 feet view looking down. There is something to this. These chakras, these Kundalini snakes, these are like, I don't know what you call them. But I don't think it's good. I don't think it's it's definitely not a good thing, right? Why would they use a snake? First off, let's just go back. Let's keep it the Bible, right? Keep it around the Bible. Why would you use a snake? Adam and Eve was tempted in the Garden of Eden, right? Before they got banished, thrown out. And it was a snake, right? And he said, oh, I'm going to curse you and you'll always crawl like all the days of your life, something like that. No hands or feet, just crawling around like a serpent. So serpents, traditionally, in biblical history have not been viewed positively. I'm a Christian. I'm also a vegan. I'm a big supporter of going back to the Garden of Eden. I want to go back to Eden where God said you can have, the fruits and the trees and everything, and you can have those. You can have dominion over the animals. You're not going to eat them. They're there to help you and learn from them, just like we learn from nature, we learn from the animals. We kind of watch them, observe them. But that's who I am. I'm like a Garden of Eden Christian, like old school, prophet style kind of thing there. So, but let me explain this process. As crazy as that sounds, and yes, I had heard about it before, but there is something to this. So I'm just going to stop babbling. Like I said, very little sleep. I get attacked every single night. It is a wild animal, like primal. You want to grab something and mount it, right? Type of lust. That's what I'm talking about. And that is not something that is part of my mental faculties on a normal basis. That level of lust and like mounting, like animal and rut, you just want to find something and get on it. That is not part of me. That's not me. I'm not that kind of person. I was never a player like that in my life. I was a man. I was enticed by women, right? We're talking about yoga shorts. I've seen some yoga shorts in my days. I've had many days in my normal worldly life where my eyes were not under control. And they would wander. They would look around. They would go outside and they would see things, right? As a guy, I'll speak as a guy. Even though I understand the feminine energy at this point, I've got some experience with that, and I will explain that too. So this video might run a little bit longer. I apologize. I know it's Sunday and you got things to do. You're worried about football and you're worried about church. So hopefully you chose the church over the football, but we'll see. So let's figure out the best way to get into this. Spiritual attack, I mentioned that before. Wild, mad, nasty lust. Like animals in rut can't control themselves. Like, you ever seen like National Geographic, right? You see like, I don't know, lions or something, and like they want to have relations with a female lion, right? But it doesn't look like it's completely consensual, if at all, right? They just kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that, maybe on the lions, but you've seen like some animals, right? Where they like jump on them and like, and they're like biting the back of their neck and they start mounting on them. That's what it feels like. It's not love. It's not, it's not love. It's a primal, nasty, like you're chasing sexual gratification almost at all costs. That's how it feels. Like you would do anything to like get off. It's the best way to look at it. It's very primal, very nasty, very animalistic. It's not human, right? We were like made in the image of God, so we're called to a higher being than being an animal. So all these people are like, well, what does it matter if I kill people? Lions kill people. Well, genius, you're not a lion. Thank God, God made you a human being, which is the image of God, right? So you're called to be holy. We're called to be perfected. We're called like the beatific vision. Is that what it goes? All right, we're called to come down to this place, unfortunately, and to become perfect or as close to perfect as possible. I understand that holy perfection in God's eyes is really tough, extremely tough, especially when you're in a place full of rebellious people, right? This place is full of rebellious people. It's full of animals. I'm not knocking on the animals, right? Do no harm. That's what I believe. I don't, I, I do want to protect the animals because they're part of God's creation. And I don't understand why they aren't all herbivores. I don't get that. I don't understand it. And maybe I'm not supposed to. I don't know. It's above my pay grade. So all I know is I don't want to do any harm. I don't want to kill anything. I'm a vegan. I want to go back to like the Garden of Eden. Like that's my ideal society. Just a place full of herbivores and you got human beings in there and they're amazing and they're helping people and they're doing great things and they're living most importantly within God's commandments and rules and statutes and covenants, right? So they're living within God's covenants. This stupid snake shows up, tempts Eve, she tempts Adam, and that's the end of it. And then we're all just, we're fruits from a poison tree, pretty much, poisoned by sin. So that's big picture, that's me. That's kind of where I am. So right off the bat here, when you get to this yoga, first off, the animalistic poses. I've already talked about how, uh, you know, trying to take on an animal spirit and animal mindset is not a good thing. I like animals. They're cool. Do I want to see a lion go jump on the back of a gazelle and rip its face off? No. That is absolute violence. That is disgusting. Why God chose to set it up that way, I don't know. I don't have those answers. You know? Do those animals deserve to die like that? I don't know. I really can't explain it. I just can't. So I'm not going to bother trying. I'll leave that with God. I'll do my part, right? And I'll do my part. I'm not going to hurt anything. I'm trying to just be a good Christian and live within God's covenant. That's it. And God's covenant for me and for everyone else is, I'm a vegan. I don't hurt things. I don't enslave things. I don't lock things up. I don't beat people up. I don't do that. I'm here to help, not hurt. But right off the bat, like for a Christian looking at this, oh, a Christian, oh, I do yoga. And I guarantee you, there are probably Christian women out there right now watching this video in their stupid yoga pants, feeling really good about themselves, very prideful, doing all these weird animal poses. So not good, right? We're not animals. God has the animals, and I don't know why they act the way they do. They just do. But we're not animals. I'm not a lion. I'm not a tiger. I'm not a bear, an alligator, or definitely not a snake. But so don't model your behavior over animals. You're not an animal. You're a human being. We're supposed to be living in the Garden of Eden, but we screwed it up because we suck. We're not very obedient. We're quite rebellious. We're very self-willed. We're worried about us. We like to make our own rules. We don't like anybody else's rules. We like to make our own. So we want to make our own rules. We used to walk with God in the garden, and we messed that up. Why didn't God make us smarter and more obedient? It's free will. That's the gift to us, is free will. We have the ability to choose God. God in all of his goodness. I say he, but God, the way I think of God is like, I don't know, like above sex, it's kind of the creator of everything. And maybe that's a combination of the masculine and feminine. I don't know. I'm not sure how all that works, but I'll say God the Father, just like Jesus did. And I agree. That's the term I use, right? Like a parental unit. But I still think it's higher than that. I think it's to peg God and be like, oh, well, he's just a guy. I don't think that's fair. I think it's more of maybe a combination of like the male and female spirit, or just above that, just above sex in general. But then obviously, when he created us in the image of God, he made us male and female, and we're designed to work together, right? Spiritually together, as a unit, to go out and help people and do amazing things, and to further the kingdom, God's kingdom. But getting back to the point, if nothing else, look at this picture. For all you Christians out there doing yoga, look at the picture. Does that look normal to you? You got this big snake, and I'm just going to keep it real for you here. You see where the head of that snake is, right? Up at the crown chakra, whatever, at the head. Well, look where that snake came in. You see where the snake came in? Look at the tail. Where's that tail? Right? At that thing's butthole. That's where the snake came in. The root chakra, they call it. So the root, and then I think the sacral is above that. So that's like the bad area. Look at what comes out of that root. Poop. Nasty waste. Right? What comes out of your butt? Waste. You ate food, you ate too much, or things that your body can't process, and this lump of disgusting smelling poop comes out of your body. And it stinks, and no one likes doing it. Nobody wants to poop, but we all have to because we're here. We're living a physical existence while we're here, before we go home. So we're here, and unfortunately, we're like animals in a certain, degree. We do things that animals do, right? We eat, we drink, we sleep. They probably dream just like we do, right? We have sex to procreate and to recreate and make little animals, little humans. So we're like animals in certain ways, but we're absolutely not animals. We're human beings made in the image of God, and we're called to a much higher standard than an animal, right? An animal can't understand this video that I'm making. They're not going to understand it. And they shouldn't, because they're animals. They're not people. We're people. We're called to be holy in God's eyes and follow God's commandments and obey God's covenants so that we can eventually be reunited with God. That's the goal. And if you, even at a glance, look at this picture, you should know, even if you don't know about chakras, right? And I didn't. As a Christian, I don't think many Christians know about chakras. But even if you don't know any of that, you know about yoga, right? And you know about modesty in the Bible. It's spoken of many times, right? And harlotry and things like that. And pride especially, right? What do you think those pants are going to create in a woman? You put them on, it tightens up your body. And why do you think they're wearing them? It makes them feel good, but more so than that, why do women wear yoga pants? Let's take comfort off the table. I'm sure the women were like, oh, it's comfortable. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Calm down. Maybe they're comfortable. I don't care. Your comfort is not my problem. You're not called to comfort. So it might be comfortable for you to walk around buck naked, but you can't do it. And that's essentially what you're doing with these pants. So, oh, you're comfortable. I don't care about comfort. So you can take that argument and throw it away. I'm not worried about your comfort. So we don't care about comfort, but those clothing, what that's going to create in you is an absolute sense of pride, which is going to destroy you. And then you're going to walk outside of your house and you're going to really mess up a lot of guys around you, right? Because I'm a guy, and unfortunately, we have certain desires in our body. We have very sinful desires in our body, which has been absolutely magnified by culture. You look at these singers out here, right, dressed ridiculously. They look ridiculous. Absolutely immodest. They're full of vainglory. Like, it's terrible. The culture, the movie, the music, everything, the way people dress, it's awful. This place sucks. This is a place for sinners. And I mean, all you have to do is look around and it becomes obvious. But let me try to stay focused. Like I said, very little sleep. Maybe 2 hours a night. Spiritual attacks which have not stopped, and they're mainly around lust, and a very wild lust, not normal. So now I'm going to really mess with you. I'm going to explain what's been happening. This part of it, this snake thing, this is fairly new. I won't, because my mind's so messed up from lack of sleep, let's call it a month or so. I don't know exactly how long. But this snake thing, this is real. This really does exist, and it's not a good thing. I haven't studied it, so I don't know if people are like, oh, I want this Kundalini snake in me. No. You don't want any snakes, spiritual snakes, crawling up your butthole. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that's bad. You don't want that. It's not normal. Look at the picture. Does that look normal? Should you have a serpent, which was represented in the Garden of Eden, not in a positive way, as the devil, right? The devil tempted Eve as a snake. Okay. So why would you want a spiritual snake that was in the Garden of Eden that tempted Eve and destroyed the Garden of Eden? They got mad, they got banished, they got thrown out through disobedience. They wouldn't listen. Now we can talk about, well, okay, they weren't supposed to eat from the garden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, I think it was. Like, that's the tree they weren't supposed to eat from for whatever reason. Like, as a parent, right? I've got 2 kids, even though they won't speak to me anymore. They won't return my phone calls. They haven't for a while. So I don't know what happened there, but they weren't supposed to eat from this tree. Like, as a parent, would I want my children to know the difference between good and evil? Yeah, I would. I would want them to know the difference. So why wouldn't I want them to eat from that tree? But that's me as a human being looking at it. I'm not, that's not taken in consideration, like the whole context of the Garden of Eden, and they were walking around with God in this garden. They were living, and it was awesome. And so it's hard to rationalize, like, what was that like? But for whatever reason, God told him, said, you can eat from all the trees, but you can't eat from this tree. So it was kind of like a clear covenant. Do not do this. And Eve was tempted. So I guess she ate from the tree, and then she got Adam to eat from the tree. And then here we are. So we're the offspring of all that sin and getting thrown out of Eden, and everything went to crap. essentially. And then this place just got absolutely destroyed. And Satan's been, winning here for a long time. Satan and his minions. So it is what it is. Once again, look at the picture. As a Christian, do you want a spiritual snake crawling up your butt, coiling around in your body? No. The answer is no. Why would you want that? And now I'm going to explain my story. So how this all relates to me. I've been under spiritual attack, the lustful things. I think I've talked about like how it feels like the energy or the like I use the term like tentacles, like the tentacles, you can feel them crawling through your body and like going through your scrotal sac and causing lust. That's what it actually feels like. So it's like it's hard to describe. It's like you can think of a snake, but then you could also call it like tentacles or whatever. But the particular situation that I'll be talking about, which happened last night in that bed, and it's happened before. This has been happening now for a month or so. I don't know exactly because my mind is so fried from lack of sleep, and I'm constantly under torment, constantly getting tormented sexually, and also like with pain. And I'm even trying to make this video, right? I'm trying to make this video, and right now, as I'm talking to you, my balls are getting squeezed. And I hate to say that, it might sound strange to you, but I'm explaining how this process is working. So I'm trying to convey this to you so you understand this stuff happens and it's real. And as I'm sitting here telling you this story, someone is just squeezing my balls. I can just feel my testicles getting squeezed right. Oh God. Ugh. So that's what I've been dealing with. So right now someone's got their claw right on my ball sack and they're just squeezing it. So I guess they don't want me to make this video, but that's okay because I'm going to keep making it. So this is my experience and this is what happened. And well, let's just talk about last night. My mind is so fried. I'm going to try to keep my brain on target here. Last night, we'll just talk about last night. Keep it simple, stupid. So last night, although this attack happens a lot, this is what happens. So it's like someone has, if you're a guy, you'll understand this. For a female, even though I do understand what females feel like now from time to time, I don't know if you call it sympathy pain. I don't know what the right term is for it. But like, you understand, like some people are like, oh, geez, women sounds terrible. I know. But females will be like complaining, like, oh, it's that time of the month, I'm bloated, I got cramps or whatever. Like, yeah, I know what that feels like. I get it. Now I understand it. It sucks. You got to deal with that once a month. That sucks. And why God set it up like that, I don't know. Is that a penalty? Is that some kind of tax that we have to pay? I don't know. But it sucks. So I'm sorry you have to deal with that. But I understand what that feels like now. And I sympathize with you because I don't want to deal with it. And I'm sorry you have to deal with it. So I have a good understanding of that process and what that feels like. As a guy, you don't want it. It's a lot of gas, a lot of bloat. It's very uncomfortable, like down in that. It's not good. But let's get back to last night. So the way this works, I've already explained like the tentacles. The tentacles are actually different. Like the little tentacles or the spikes or the straws or whatever term you want to use there, because they're kind of all correct in some way or another. But those are different. The snake is different than the straws or the nails or the tentacles or whatever you want to call those things. Those things can like flow through your scrotum sac or your sacral chakra or whatever you want to call it. Like that's separate in my opinion. But let's talk about the snake because I'm talking about yoga, so let's keep it on the yoga. So as I'm laying in bed, and this is when I get tormented, attacked, lust attacks, spiritual attacks. So as I'm sitting there, the first thing that'll happen, and maybe someone out there understands what I'm talking about. I don't because I'm not versed in this stuff. I know the Bible. And I know it as a lay person, maybe not lay. Like I do read spiritual material a lot. It's kind of my job in commenting on it. I've read through the Bible cover to cover a couple times, and then obviously, looked at specific passages and like New Testament more so than Old Testament. But obviously, I read the Bible, and all the books that I read, almost all of them, probably like 99%, they're all referencing the Bible. So this all stems from the Bible, biblical time frames, God, Jesus, Moses, the prophets, the judges, all of it. It's all, there's a reason it's all in the Bible, right? It's all condensed into one book. It's God's history. It's God's history, in relation to his creation, which is us. And we were made in the image of God, even though we've fallen short of that horribly. We're just kind of a disappointment, if you want to be honest. But fixable. So let's not be too negative. Fixable. Absolutely. But it requires the intercession of God, which comes down, it's Jesus Christ to help people, right? He has to incarnate. That's how you get back into this world. Because obviously heaven is not like a physical place, right? I don't know if the right term is ethereal or otherworldly or astral. I don't know what the right terminology is, but it's clearly not a physical place. It's a spiritual place. So the only way you can get back into this physical realm, which is, this is a physical realm, that's true, but it's actually interweaved with the spiritual realm. So like, and the spiritual realm is unseen, even though it's here. It's really weird. So it is a physical realm, but it's also interweaved with the spiritual world, which is really weird because you can't see it, although some people can see certain parts of it, which, that's a thing too. So we're here. We're in the spiritual world. Well, sorry, physical world. Interweaved with the spiritual world. And then once we die, we go back to heaven. Or, well, maybe you just have to come back here and do it again if you're not ready. But the only way to get back down here is to be born, right? To be born again, right? To be incarnated again. So if you want to come back down here, it's like an angel, watching people and helping them and testing them and things like that, you would have to be born again into a human body. So, and that's what, females provide in conjunction with the man and, within a marriage and they make a child. So if you want to come back, if for whatever reason to come back and help and things like that, you'd have to be born again, which means physically, you'd have to be born as a person. You have to be a human being, just like I was, right? I'm a human being, a physical human being. So I had to be born again, right? Born again. So that's how it works. But last night, we're finally going to keep this on topic. Spiritual attacks, it's like a claw, if you will, or like this is only going to be applicable for men. For women, I don't know. Just listen, and at least you'll understand. But guys, it's like someone just squeezing your sack. But at the same time that it's happening, it's not just the pain of it. It's actually coated. That pain is coated in a ball of lust. Absolute nasty, wild lust. Like, you ever seen the animals, like you jump on the back of something and just start mounting it and just going at it? That's the kind of lust I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like a regular human being, like, oh, I see this girl and she looks pretty and she's got these yoga pants on and oh, geez, I wish she hadn't done that, because it's really distracting and it's making, as a guy, it's like it's making me lustful and I'm having thoughts. And not only that, she's being made prideful because she's loving the attention. She loves walking down the street with these yoga pants on. Trust me, if she had eyes in the back of her head, she'd probably love to see you like ogling her butt and staring, making all kinds of comments in your mind, which God hears anyway, so you're not really hiding anything. And I can only imagine what some of you might be thinking while you're looking at these pants. But that's where we are. So, yoga pants. Whoever invented those should be shot. No, sorry. That's violence. See, that's me. Lack of sleep. That's my human side. That was a little bit of anger sneaking out. Frustration, righteous anger, if you will. So I apologize. I retract it. But last night, the claw. So you've got the pain, and it's a domination thing. If I had to, I think that's what it is. It's a domination thing. So it's a combination of the squeezing of the pain, but it's coated in this ball of pure animalistic wild lust. That's the combination. And the way I know it's going to happen, and the way I know it's not the same thing, right? The tentacles, the straws, the nails, or needles. You can think of it as needles, like this like pinprick and then like pulling sensation. So you can consider it like that, but it's definitely separate from this Kundalini snake thing. This butt snake. It's different. So this process, I'll be laying there, probably dealing with the lust attacks, which does involve some physical pain, which I think is a domination thing. So I think the devil's into like domination, dominatrix, all that nasty, disgusting, like black leather and zippers and whips and all that and ball gags, all that disgusting crap that you see like in the culture, because this place is a cesspit, if you will. Um, so that's why that nasty, disgusting, horrible crap happens here, because that's, this is a place for the rebellious people. And it's also a place for the other ones that come back to help, because they realize this place is, it's dead. It's full of lost people. This is like the lost world or a fallen world. It's fallen, so it's lost. It's full of fallen people, lost people, and who are then corrupted by the culture. It's been so messed up for so long that the culture itself actually creates sin. Because it's been fallen for so long, we've created a culture of disobedience and a culture of self, a culture of me, 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 me. I make the rules. It's my world. Me, 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 me. So it's, and when you grow up in that culture, you don't even know it. You'll just be born into it. If you were born in, let's say you're in the middle of the woods or you're in the Amazon or somewhere, and you're born into this is fictitious, this doesn't exist, but let's just say you're born into some culture in the Amazon, somewhere, right? Somewhere really remote, cut off from everybody. And in this culture, like you grow up and they worship a Kundalini snake. Let's say they worship some kind of snake god, right? And because they worship this snake god, you're born into that. Your parents are snake worshipers. They're going out there, they're sacrificing children to like a bull god, right? Like Baal or whatever. Like they're taking their babies up and they're setting them in there and they're setting them on fire, or they're putting them in that weird like bull thing and like setting them on fire, and then you can hear them screaming out of the bull. It's disgusting. But like they're doing stuff like that. They're pagans. They're following the devil or one of the devil's minions, like the demons, like the demon gods, like bull gods or snake gods or goat gods, any of that crap. It's not God. It's a fake God, right? It's a false God sent by the devil. And worshiping those gods, I'm not saying that you won't get any benefits, right? You might not expect me to say that. How would it work? Think about it. How would it work if you worshiped a false God and the devil wanted you to continue to worship that false God? Why would you worship a God that never gives you anything, right? That's why you have these devil's contracts, which always work out in the devil's benefit and to your detriment, to your destruction. But that's why they exist. Like, if you worshiped a devil or an offshoot of the devil, it wouldn't work unless you got some benefit out of it, right? So there has to be like some magic tricks in there, maybe some minor healing or whatever, things that will eventually come back and hurt you. But that's what it would take. Like you're not going to worship something that gives you no benefit ever. That religion would just fall apart, right? You have to get some benefit. So the demons will give you some benefits. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep worshiping them. But let's say you grow up in the Amazon, you're worshiping this Kundalini snake, this snake god, right? It's a false god. But you grew up in it. So you grew up in this environment. You don't know about Jesus. You don't know about God. You don't know about the Holy Spirit. All you know is a snake god. Well, you're kind of screwed, to be honest, because you're not going to know any better. And you're going to grow up thinking that's all there is. So culture, that's the whole point, is culture. We have to go back and create a biblical culture, a culture based on God's covenant with us, so that we can rise to our potential as images of God. Because what you see in this world is not our full potential at all. It's horrific. And I think it's getting better, even though I'm not allowed to see it, I guess, for whatever reason. But I think it's getting better, but we're made in the image of God, right? We're supposed to be holy so that we can finally reach that beatific vision and get back to God. That's the whole point. But right now we're fallen, so we're here, unfortunately. And now I'm finally going to get on topic, and I'm going to tell you this story because I know you want to hear it, even though it's really weird. I don't know what you're going to think about me or my story or any of this, but it would be in my best interest probably not to ever tell you this, because you would have a better opinion of me if I didn't tell you this story. But it would be a disservice to you. It's probably a disservice to me to even tell this story, because then I can never take it back. You'll always know what happened. You'll always know exactly what happened because I'm going to tell you what happened. Because if I lie, I'm going to get taxed, and it's not going to be pretty. So there's that. I know God's watching, so I can lie to you, I mean, I can lie to myself sometimes, not that I always believe it, but God knows. And I'm accountable to God. I'm one of God's servants. So is this going to be beneficial for me? No, it's not. You'll probably have a much worse opinion of me. But I think it will benefit you. So that's the whole point, right? It's sacrifice. So I'll sacrifice my reputation for you so that you can learn and that you can avoid these mistakes right here. So last night, I'm going through the normal spiritual attacks, which is typically, um, I don't know what you want to call it. Or do we call it like, uh, I've read like a few little things on like, vampires and stuff like that, like energy let's be clear, energy vampires, the whole sanguine thing, the blood drinking. I don't have any experience with that. But like the psychic vampires, things like that, the things they can do, I do have experience with that. So I know that's a thing. That's true. And it's different than the snake thing, which may be related. I don't know, but it's definitely different. You have like the tentacles or the nails, things like that that can, they're, I think in vampire circles, they call them like subtle. It's like part of the subtle world, the spiritual world. Like you can't see it. Um, it's there, but you can't see it. So as I'm laying there going through these attacks, these lust attacks with these spears or tentacles or whatever they are, like feeding through your kind of like your sac and going into your testicles and creating this lust, like it's nothing. It's no lust like you've ever felt. It's not normal. It's like super. You ever heard of like Spanish fly? Like I grew up and I heard the term like Spanish fly. It's like something you take and like as a guy, it just makes you like, "Rah!" Like all you want to do is have sex. That's what it feels like. It's crazy and it's dirty and nasty. It is not, it's not normal. It's not normal. It's very primal. It's an animal. It turns you into an animal. You're like you ever heard of like deer getting rut season or whatever that is? They call them like in rut. And it means they just want to jump on something and just go at it. That's what it's like. So I was going through those normal lust attacks last night. I get tormented every single night. Doesn't stop. I'm not allowed to sleep. 8 hours of sleep. I don't know that I'll ever get 8 hours of sleep the rest of my life if this continues until I can stop these attacks somehow. I got to figure out how to stop them. But last night was no different. So I was on par to get about 1 or 2 hours of sleep. And the way it works, before I get into the exact story, so the way it works is they'll let me go back to sleep for like 30 minutes or 20. It feels like that. And then boom, I'll wake up and someone will just have a claw or a hand and just be grabbing my sack. And then at the same time that's happening, it feels like needles are going into it or tentacles or something like that. So you've got the needles piercing your testicles. You've got a claw grabbing onto it at the same time. And while all that's happening, your body is flooded with this wild, like animal lust. All you want to do is get onto something, right? So that's how it works. You've got the pressure, the claw, you've got the nails or the needles or the tentacles, whatever terminology you want to use. That's happening. And keep in mind, they're not physical nails, right? They're not physical needles or I guess that's the best way to describe tentacle, whatever you want to call them. Let's just say nails. Nails makes I think people know what nails are. So it's like they're nails, but it's almost like they're pulling things out too. Let's call them needles. Straws. Needles or straws. That's probably the best way to describe it. And while that's happening, you're being put into this wild like rut where you just want to mount something. So that's how I get woken up after about 15, 20 minutes sleep. So I'm allowed to go back to sleep, passed out, like I'm so tired, I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh gosh, sorry, I didn't say it. Um, like, oh, I finally get to sleep. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get hit with the claw, the needles, and the lust all at once. And then you come out of your sleep. And here's the other part of it. When this happens, when you're hit with that lust attack and that torment, another side effect of that, and I don't know why, your heartbeat starts going crazy. Your heart starts pumping. Your adrenaline starts going. So while you were asleep, right, you had just gotten off to rest, your brain waves had just settled down enough. And then all of a sudden, you're ripped out of it. Essentially, it feels like you're ripped out, like by your sack. If you're a guy, you understand what I'm talking about here, right? Try to imagine this in your life every night. Try to imagine that every single night this is happening. So you finally get off to sleep, your brain waves are calming down, and then boom, the claw hits you. You come out, the needles go in, the lust hits you, and then your heart starts pounding, right? Your endorphins or adrenaline, however that works, you're like amped up. So you go from like being tired to like you could run a marathon. Like you're like, I mean, you're in it, and you're very focused. You're very focused on what they're forcing you to be focused on, which is your lower region and your lust. So that's what it feels like. That's what a sexual psychic attack feels like. So it's a combination. You got the needles, you got the claw, you got the lust, you got the heart pounding, you got the endorphins, you got the adrenaline. Like you're ready to go. Like it's go time, and you're just looking for something, like a target. That's what it feels like. And then once you get past those attacks and it calms down, your brain waves will eventually slow down. You'll eventually get back to bed again. And then about 15, 20 minutes into that, you're going to get hit with the claw again, and the nails, and the lust, and the heartbeat, and the endorphins, and all of that. All of that's going to happen. And that happens over and over and over. So this is like a Guantanamo Bay of hell, right? If like demons wanted to attack you, or vampires, or whatever you want to call them, right? The fallen, you want to call them fallen, that's fine. It's definitely not God's intention, I don't think, to have beings like that that are, number one, attacking you. They're distracting you. They're causing you to lust. That lust will cause you to do things to yourself to relieve that lust that you're not supposed to be doing, which is an offense to God, right? So the ways in which these attacks, these psychic attacks, these demonic attacks, the way that they are opposed to God, they distract you for one. They prevent you from sleeping, which is going to mess up your next day, which is probably the least of your worries. They're causing your mind to be flooded with nasty thoughts, especially if you've watched pornography in the past. That pornographic material, that very nasty, like physical dominatrix style, like pornography, physical, almost like simulation rape and stuff like that. These are the kind of images that'll be in your mind as this is going on, as you're going through one of these torments. Your mind will be flooded with those types of images. Nothing, you're not thinking of marriage. You're not thinking of, oh, I'm going to meet this nice girl and we're going to get married and we're going to have a kid and it's going to be a beautiful Christian home and we're going to help people and go feed the homeless and be charitable to people and we're going to go do mission work and go all around the world and stuff like that. That's not what's going through your head. No, this snake thing, this psychic attack, this demonic attack, it's pure lust. It's nasty, disgusting, like dominatrix, like bending girl. I'm not going to go into the topic, but just think of nasty, disgusting porn, which I hope you haven't watched. But if you have, guess what? It's stuck in there. And if they ever want to, they can pull those images out of your little memory bank that you've forgotten about, and they can stick them right there on your forehead. So all that nasty stuff that you've seen, they can just pull that out of the drawer, those things you've forgotten about, those dirty, nasty, horrible acts that happen, and they can essentially just like stick them on your head. You ever seen those old car commercials where they have those cars and you're like, this guy's at work, he's thinking of a car, and it's like this little car on his head, and then he's like, oh, he's thinking more of the car, and the car gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's kind of how it works. So they take these nasty things out of your memory and they slap them right there on the front of your head to where it's all you can think about. So, you got the pressure, which is like a dominatrix thing on your ball sack. Sorry. So they got like the dominatrix aspect of it, which is also part of like the needles, right? And the straws. It's like a dominatrix thing. And at the same time, your mind is being flooded with dirty, disgusting, like pornographic thoughts. You're really hard. Like, sorry, kids, don't watch this one. Watch this later on. No, don't watch it. So you're rock hard. Your heart is pounding, right? Your mind is flooded with sexual thoughts. You're getting like dominated by your ball sack in multiple ways. Your heart's pounding, and you have this unquenchable lust. You just want to mount something. Like you're in a rut. It's almost like they gave you like an animal's sexual desire was put into you. And that's what it feels like. So I'm laying down, I'm going through the normal sexual tormented attacks, which I've just explained in detail, which is probably way more than you wanted to know, and I apologize. But if I don't tell you, you will never know. No one will ever tell you this. And if I hadn't experienced it, I wouldn't be able to describe it so correctly. I wouldn't be like exactly like how it actually happens. That's how it actually happens. And I'm sorry that I'm not a female and I can't explain what that would be like to a female, but as a female, maybe you can, do like the female version of that. I'm sure it happens, like what that would be like for you, even though for whatever reason, like I understand the divine energy or spirit at this point. So like, and I even have like sympathy pains. Like I understand with like menstrual bloating and things like I understand what that feels like now. And I'll get to that here in a second. Oh geez, this is gonna be a long one. I'm sorry. I I'm just gonna we're just gonna do it. I don't want to stop this, and I've already gone this far. So if I don't explain it now, you really won't get this. Laying down, sexual attack. This part's different. I don't think you've heard this part yet. So as I'm laying down, going through these sexual attacks, all of a sudden there's this portal that opens, right? It's below my thighs. It's actually in front of like my sack, I guess you would say, like close to my butt, like right in that area. Imagine like your thighs are right here. It's like a portal that opens right there. And I don't know if it's like a square portal, like a little garage door that goes up and down. I don't know. Um, I don't know if it's a garage door, like a circular hole. I'm not really sure. But whenever this portal opens right below my sack, it's kind of an indication that I'm about to be attacked. And this is going to be a big one, right? This is going to be a big attack. This is bigger than the normal claw domination with the needles and the lust and all that. It's different. It's actually on top of that. So while I'm getting tormented like that, where my sack is just getting destroyed and my body's being infused with like animalistic lust and my brain is being shot in images of like old sexual things that I've watched. And as they're being shot into my mind, I'm kind of reminded that I looked at this stuff voluntarily. So these aren't things that I've never experienced, except for the needles and stuff like that. That was different. I didn't know anything about that. But like the images and the mindset, it's like things that I've seen in pornography before, like the dirty, nasty, gross, disgusting sex in pornography, like the dominatrix stuff and all that stuff. It's like that. Um, so while that's going on, then this little portal opens up like in front of my scrotum. Let's keep it medicals. Sorry, but I know this terminology is bad. And it's a horrible video, but this portal, like a little garage door, opens in front of my nether regions between my thighs. And here's the weird thing. And this part I don't understand. Maybe you can explain it. I don't understand this. When this little garage door opens, or this portal thing, as soon as it opens, the way I know that it opened is because cool air starts blowing on my scrotum and my thighs. Weird, isn't it? As soon as the portal opens, cool air starts blowing all over my thighs and my scrotum, and it's cooling down the whole area. And at first I was like, oh, cool, maybe that's healing, maybe it's healing something down there. Maybe it's cooling things down for whatever reason. Or it didn't feel like an energy drain because the air, like, and they say like air or spirit or whatever, it's like the air was blowing over that area. It wasn't painful. It actually felt nice. It was like having air conditioning in your pants. You have this nice cool air, imagine like an AC unit just kind of blowing on your scrotal region and your thighs. It felt good. I'm like, oh wow, this is nice. It's not nice. Apparently it's some kind of portal. So it initially feels nice, which I think is kind of like a little punch to the face, right? Because you think it's something good. It's almost like when I get back to sleep and I'm finally like my brain waves calm down, like, oh, this is so nice, James. You're getting back to sleep. Oh, this is great. And then I'll be asleep for like 20 minutes. And then I get ripped out of my nice sleep by a great pressing pain in my nether region, combined with needles being jammed in to my testicles, and the lust and the images and everything else, right? All that's going on. But that's why this is so misleading, because this portal, garage door, whatever you want to call it, it opens up to this other place, this other dimension, if you will. Because the air, the cool air that's blowing in on my scrotal region, it's not coming from my room. It's not. Like in front of this portal is the air blowing out towards me, and it feels nice and cool and it's refreshing. You're like, oh, this is a good thing. But there's no air there's no air behind it. So the air is coming from another dimension. It's not coming from inside my room. It's a portal that's opening up next to my root chakra, I guess you'd call it, or my sacral, or root, I think, because it's right in that area. But there's no air behind it. So the cool, nice, brisk air, it's great. It feels like fall weather. It's amazing. And it's blowing on you. You're like, oh, this is great. And for whatever reason, this portal thing opens up ahead of time. So I know that I'm about to be attacked a lot when this portal opens. And it's very misleading, especially the first time it happened, because I was like, oh man, this is great. This might be healing. This is something good. My scrotum's been getting destroyed all night. Like maybe that'll cool it down and heal it. It didn't feel like an energy drain because my energy levels were okay. My heart's still pounding because whenever that whole torment is going on, I told you, your endorphins are going crazy. Like your metabolism is up, like your heart's just like beating. Like you're not going to sleep. Are you kidding me? You're wide awake. And it's blowing air. And then for whatever reason, when the little garage door opens, it takes, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. It's open for a while before this thing shows up. So I don't know if it has to like call this thing in from the other dimension or how that works, but it's just cooling air. It's blowing. Oh, it's amazing. You got air conditioning right there on your scrotum. It's great. And then this snake shows up, this Kundalini snake. I don't know if that's a Kundalini snake. I don't know if it's a demonic entity. I really don't know. I'm only using the term Kundalini just because I've seen it online and it does look and feel exactly like that. It is a feminine. I'll, I'm not 100% sure on that. I've definitely got something feminine in me. That much I'm pretty sure of. For other reasons that I could talk about, but this will end up. If I talk about the other things, this is going to run so long, and I know it's Sunday. I don't want to take up everyone's time, but I also don't want to get off track, and it's kind of on my brain. So I want to unload this burden on you. Um, so the Kundalini snake thing. So we've got the AC. They got the little garage door open to the other dimension. This beautiful, cool air is blowing in, and it's quite a breeze. Like this is a lot of breeze. It's this is not some gentle breeze. Like this is a good bit of air just blowing in. And here's another thing. It's literal. It is literal air, even though it's ethereal or astral, however you want to do that. Because I'll take my hands to check, and I'll put my hands on my thighs, and my skin is physically cool. Physically. Like you could take a temperature meter. It's physically impacting my body, even though it's a spiritual process, a subtle process, if you will. Something like that. But it physically impacts my body. It's not just spiritual. Even I can feel the air physically. It physically makes my thighs cool. It makes my scrotum cool. Everything down there is cool, like physically cool. Like you could put your hand on it. I could measure it if I wanted to. This is not theory. This is not just like, I mean, it is supernatural, but it's affecting my physical body, even though it's coming from a supernatural source, one you can't see. Right? The little door goes up. Access is provided to my nether regions. The cool air starts blowing in pretty aggressive. This is a lot of air. So whatever this other region is, this other dimension, it must have a lot of air in it. There's a lot of air in this thing. So there's a lot of pressure in it. So whenever you cut a little portal open to this other dimension, what happens is as soon as you like take the little door off, air starts flooding out of it. So it's like that other dimension, it's full of cool air. And as soon as you open a door, it will start flying out and it starts blowing all over you. And initially I thought it was a good thing until I got attacked. And now the crappy thing is that I actually know what's going to happen. So when the little garage door goes up and I start feeling this cool air, I'm like, crap, here we go again. I know what's going to happen now. And then sometimes there's two different variations. So one variation is that when the garage door opens and the cool air blows, I have to wait. And I know it's coming. And this is while the claw is still there. Like I'm still going through the sexual torment, right? The psychic torment, whatever you want to call it, demonic torment. I'm still going through that. And then while I'm going through that, the door's open. I know the other dimension, the portal to that dimension is open. And I'm waiting for something from that dimension to come in to this dimension, to my physical dimension. So it comes through that door for whatever reason. And it's a snake, right? It's actually a snake. And it's happened two different ways. There's two different ways that it happens. One way is that it's almost like there's something in me that like comes out through my root chakra, like just pokes its head out and it opens up like a flower. It's really crazy. But it's like you can feel it like just trying to like get through and like poking through, and then all of a sudden it gets through and then it opens up. And then you can imagine, you can't see them, but you can feel them. These little like if you look at a flower and you see like the little petals or whatever they call them on the inside of the flower, it's like that. So it opens up and then these little things are like moving around, almost like attracting like bees in, like if you do like hibiscus or something like that, you'll see like the little, I forget what they call them, but there's little thingies. They're kind of like attractive to bees. So it'll like kind of crawl out of the root chakra and open up like a flower. And then those little things in the flower will just start fluttering in the wind. It's like attracting whatever is in this other dimension. It's opening up and attracting it. That's one version of it. It doesn't always happen like that, but that's how it initially started. That's initially I was like, "Oh, that's so weird." I was like, "I've turned into like a flower. Like, what in the world is going on?" But that's what I'm saying. It's some kind of divine energy. But it comes out of your root and then it opens up like a flower. But then these things in there start moving around. And you can't see them, but they're like you can feel them. And they're like little astral things, and they're blowing around in the wind in this cool air coming through this other dimension. And they're almost like attracting this other thing. So then I'll do the first version, and then I'll give you the version that happened last night. So this was the first initial version. You got like the hibiscus flower thing, the little, whatever they call those in the middle, they're blowing around, attracting whatever it is from this dimension. And in this dimension, I told you, it's full of pressure. So there's always air coming out. It's a dimension of air. There's always air coming out. And so then something else comes out of this other dimension, and it's a snake, because you can tell it's got a head like a snake. And it's hard to explain because it's like on a subtle astral, whatever type of level you want to call it. So you can feel it, but it's not the same as if like, it doesn't feel like I'm taking this mouse and I'm trying to put that in my butt. Like it's not like that, but you feel it. You do feel it, and you can tell the shape of it and what it is and what's going on. So it's a feeling like that. You'll absolutely know what it's supposed to be and what it is, but it's on a spiritual level, a subtle level, however you want to describe that. So you can feel it like entering you and leaving you and crawling around. Like you can feel all that, but it's not the same. Like it's not like you're putting a mouse into your body, which would be extremely painful, right? Look how big that is. But it's, so I'll just use this because that's kind of what it feels like, the head of the snake. So initially when it first started, they had the garage door, the air. I felt like this little thing like crawl out of my root and then open up like a flower and then start doing these little petal things on the end, like trying to attract something. And when it did that, all of a sudden out of this dimension came this like snake, a snake energy, kind of like that. That was the head. And I could tell that it was going to, I knew what its intentions were because it went right to the, like the butt, to the root chakra, if you will. That's where it is, like the spine. So, and I guess that's how it gets in. So it gets into the root through your butt. So it would like, the attack started, it would go there and just put its little nose right there in your butt, like right in your butthole, and just sit there. Like it would like squeeze in through the cheeks and then just sit there right on the edge of your butt so you could feel it. It was tormenting me because I knew this thing just came out of another dimension. This portal, garage door, circular hole, I don't know what it is. It's this little door opens up to another dimension. I've got all this cool air physically cooling my body. It's not just mental, like it's physically cooling. And then I had this like divine flower come like out of my root chakra and open up, and then these petals start moving around and they start attracting this thing out of this other dimension. So it comes in, and then it's got its nose pressed up right into like my butthole after it's gone through the cheeks, right? It's like moved around to the cheeks and it's just sitting there. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? Like, this is crazy. And the whole time I'm under a lust attack at the same time. So I'm just constantly filled with lust. My heart is pounding. You know, you can't sleep. All you can think about is sex and mounting things. And this is all happening at the same time. You have to imagine this is all at the same time. But it's tormenting me. And then it starts to slowly like wiggle its head back and forth and starts to slowly make its way inside of your butt. So it starts crawling through your butthole as an astral snake, as like a Kundalini type thing like that. It's literally what it feels like. And it is a snake. 100%. It is a snake energy coming from another dimension. And that dimension is full of air. It is air like flowing out, like blowing on you. It's so weird. But then it was enticed by this like hibiscus flower thing. So, and it had like these little petals. This is when it first started. So the snake comes out of this little dimensional portal, and then it's interacting with like these little fluttering petals and like this hibiscus. And then it goes into the hibiscus, and then they merge together. It's like the hibiscus wraps around the snake head, and then it like pulls it in. So you have this divine like flower that's coming out from within you, like creating this little attachment point. And then you have this snake coming out of this dimension. And then the hibiscus kind of like wraps around the snake's head, and they kind of meld a little bit. And then it like pulls it into your body. And then it pulls this whole divine snake into you. It's very strange. And this whole time you're under a lust attack. So you're rock hard, your heart's pounding, you're like dripping as a guy. I think you know what I mean. Like that's what I'm saying. It's so lustful. Your body is just like, you're like a faucet just leaking. and then this snake is getting pulled into you. This is crazy stuff. But that's how initially it happened. The whole hibiscus flower thing, I don't feel it as much. It's it's still there, I think, and I'm pretty sure it's still there because I have like sympathy pains with like menstrual cramping, and I I just have a really good idea of like what it feels like to be a female. Um, and there are other things too with like certain attacks that happen that I can kind of tell that what it would feel like from like a female perspective, like the whole like the act of sex. I kind of understand what that feels like from a female perspective now. Like I've got a better appreciation for how females are treated, and in that regard, maybe that's part of the reason that I'm going through this, so I understand like how much it sucks for like a woman to have to go through menstruation every month, like no matter what, whether she's good or bad. She can be sinful or sin less, and either way, she's still kind of paying the price, right, for Eve. And that's why she goes through, all these pains every month. And as a guy, I would never understand that. Like if I didn't have this divine spirit or thing in me that stays in me, it's still there. So like because of it, I have an understanding of females now that I never would have had. As a guy, I never would have understood what it's like to have menstruation and bloating and all like the ovaries and things. Like I wouldn't have understood that. But now that I've got this like divine energy hibiscus thing like in me, I get it. I have like these sympathy pains and I understand like what it's like to go through menstruation and how it sucks. And I'm sorry you have to deal with it. Blame Eve, don't blame me. And I understand like from a perspective of like sex, like what that feels like from a woman's perspective now, like to be like just laying there and like getting mounted. It's a very different experience from a guy. Like as a guy, you like you want to do the mounting and it's different. It's a different experience for a guy. It's like you're the one going in. As a girl, you're the one like taking in. So it's a very different dynamic, like spiritually and mentally. It's just different. Like you're the one being entered. As a guy, you're the one entering and you're the one doing. And as a girl, like you're the one getting entered and you're the one feeling this stuff and like having these pains and you're like having stomach pains and like, ugh, it's it's a very weird experience. And as a guy, I don't know how to explain this to another guy. I'm doing the best I can, right? But as a female, which I'm not, but I've got like a female energy or spirit in me or something. So I understand what they feel like when, because of these sexual attacks. I can be sexually attacked as a guy, and I can be sexually attacked as a female. I'm like both now. For whatever reason, the way this has worked out, there's like a girl in me, so to speak, or a feminine spirit or something. But I understand now the sex from both sides. So I understand the guy's version of sex, which I've known my whole life. But now I have like a very intimate feeling of what it's like to be a girl. In that, not exactly, right? Because like I said, it's not physical. It's not like this mouse is going into you, but it's a ethereal, astral thing. You feel it. You 100% feel it. So I understand what it's like for a female to be lying there in bed and, having a guy like do his thing on you or whatever. It's weird. As a guy, it's very weird. And I'm not a fan. I don't like it. I'm a guy. I'm not gay. I'm a straight guy. But because of this process and because I have this female thing in me, for whatever reason, God saw it fit that I would have to really understand what it's like to be like a female's perspective, let's call it that. So I truly get it. I understand the cramping and it sucks. And I also understand the sexual aspect is way different than a guy. Like as a guy, you're the one doing, and as a girl, you're the one like receiving. I absolutely hate it, but I'm a guy, so that's normal. But I do understand it now. So the hibiscus thing, it's got these little, I don't know what you call them, they're like almost enticing this thing through this little dimension. This snake comes out, he puts his little nose right there, he starts wiggling around. The hibiscus wraps around it. They kind of merge together, and then it gets pulled in. That was initial. It doesn't really do that as much now. The whole flower thing, that's not as much. It's still in there because I can feel it like sitting on the edge. If it wants to irritate me, I can just feel it like nudging me and doing stuff like that. But now it's mainly just the snake. So the portal opens, the snake comes and puts his nose right in your butthole and starts wiggling around. And then guess what happens? And it happens slowly to torment you. That's the whole point. Like, I'm sure the snake could just jam itself in there real quick, but the whole point is to torment you. It's demonic torment. So it starts literally wiggling its way into your ass, into your butt. And then eventually that Kundalini, that snake thing, it gets in you and it goes up and it curls around in your intestines. This is what it did to me last night. It curled all the way around in my intestines and it created this huge ball in my intestines, almost like it was pumping up like a pool beach ball inside of me. So this thing got up in like my, like, I'm not, I wish, I really, honestly, I'm going to go study anatomy now. Like in my spare time, I'm going to go look up some diagrams and figure it out because if you're going to really get into this stuff with like the chakras and stuff like that and figuring out like how these attacks work, it's based off your physical body. Like the nails and things are going into your testicles. There's a physical aspect. It's the supernatural interacting with the physical. So I need to go study like some biology too. Some biology is part of this because it'll explain why this is happening. But imagine you're a guy, like, and this snake gets in you and he's crawling in you and he finally gets inside you. And then all of a sudden it starts curling up in like a ball, like really quickly, like spinning around almost like a web. And then it keeps growing out. So it creates this snake ball in your intestines as if someone was taking like an air hose and they jammed it in your butt and they start pumping up your body to a very unhealthy level. You almost feel like you're having a baby, like because your whole lower body expands. Like there, there's like some old like disgusting like porn stuff. Like, oh god, this is horrible. But there's like some old disgusting porn stuff that I've seen right in my old days, right? And it would be like the guy's like so big that like her stomach starts moving up. You know what I mean? Oh, I know. I'm sorry. I'm just explaining it. Sorry. But it's like that. It's like your body is like someone's got an air hose and they've inflated this snake is curled around so much inside my intestines that it's literally pressing all of my organs out. It's too much. It's like you're like being stuffed like a teddy bear. But if someone took way too much stuffing and jammed it in that teddy bear, like from the bottom up, and put way too much stuffing in there, that's what you feel like. So you're being sexually tormented, you're being lust attacked the whole time. You are dripping because you're like foaming with lust, your heart is pounding, and you've got this snake from another dimension that is curled up and it's curled up in a ball so tight that it keeps going further and further away and your whole body's expanding to a very uncomfortable level. So ladies, imagine you're going through your time of the month and I get you. It's not fun. But you're going through your time of the month, you got all that cramp in your ovaries and all this stuff. It's that region down there, that little like T region. You're bloated, you're not feeling good, you're not feeling sexy. Imagine it being way worse than that, right? It's way worse because I mean it's very similar, but it's very similar but worse, if I could describe it. And it's not as much focused in a certain region like in a female. It's way more. It's like your whole stomach, your bladder, everything is just being exploded. Someone hooked up an air hose like in your butt and just blew your body up way too big. It's like they put like a beach ball in you and just filled it up, a big beach ball, just filled it up. So you're absolutely stuffed with a demonic snake curled up in your intestines. That's what it feels like. And at the same time, you've got the claw. You've got the straws or the needles or whatever. You're lusting, you're dripping. Your mind is full of nothing but pornographic thoughts. All you want to do is mount something. And at the same time, you've got a demonic snake crawling around in your butthole and literally coiling up into this gigantic ball, which then culminates this whole big snake ball. What eventually happens is I guess it like dissipates. And when it dissipates, all of your intestinal organs, your GI tract, blows up into this bloated air. Remember how I told you in this other dimension, it was full of air and the air is pouring out into my like thighs and scrotal sac? All of a sudden, this big, huge snake that's just, it's like a damn boa constrictor in my stomach. And it's full. Like I feel bloated like I'm having a kid. Like my whole lower body is just like puffed out. Like I'm just literally like puffed. Like imagine some teddy bear and you stuffed it with all of this cotton, way more cotton than it's supposed to have, and you just jammed it all in there. That's what it feels like. And then, like I said, the snake curls around all of your organs, so it's inside my whole GI tract. And then somehow, all of a sudden, my entire GI tract is full of air. So I already feel super bloated from this freaking snake. And then all of a sudden, someone just fills up my entire colon, my GI tract, everything is full of air. If you've ever had a colonoscopy done, you know how they pump you up with air and like you're farting for like hours afterwards? That's exactly what it feels like. But it's not done to go in there and check for problems. It's done to hurt you. It's done intentionally to hurt you. So whereas you go to get a colonoscopy and they pump you up with air so they can look around and check things out, that is not the case. That snake is not there to look for colon polyps, okay? That snake is in combination with the lust attack, the claw, the crushing of the testicles, the nails going in, the straws, the lust, the thoughts, the heart pounding, the dripping. All of that's happening at the same time. And then this snake thing, like I said, it's not there to help you. It's not looking for problems. It's there to torment your ass. Literally. Yeah. It's literally what it's doing. So we initially, the hibiscus, the little things, the portal, the rushing air, cooling down everything. You think it's going to be nice. The snake, they meet up, it pulls it in or it pushes itself in, whatever. They merge together, they pull in. It wraps around into this huge ball. It's way too big for my internal organ structure. It's way too big. So it's like inflating me like a balloon, which is extremely painful. It sucks. And then all of a sudden that thing dissipates, and in its place, like as that snake dissipates, it literally somehow infected air into like every organ in my body. So if you've ever been bloated, this is the worst bloating you can possibly imagine. And it doesn't end for hours, because once this thing fills you with air, it takes a long time to get the air out because it's all trapped in all your different GI tracts. So it's like you have to roll to the right, lay there for like an hour, roll to the left, lay there for, and the whole time like you're farting, trying to get all this air out. Then you're laying on your stomach, you're laying on your back. You're like a gymnast. You know, you're trying to like contort your body in such a way that you can finally get all this air out of your body, and it takes hours to get it out. And then, like I say, you ever had a colonoscopy, you understand, because you're like sitting there farting for like hours because you've been infected with all this air. And then one other part of it. So initially that was the whole hibiscus thing and the snake, but now typically it's just the little garage door opens to the other dimension. You know, I don't know if it's Kundalini. I don't know. It looks like that. It feels like that. So it's like this snake from this other dimension, you know, kind of works its way through your butt cheeks and then gets to your butthole. And then it just sits there and like just moves its little nose around tormenting you because it's letting you know that it's about to come into you. It's letting you know, like it could probably just run right in there, but it does it to torment you. So while I'm getting the normal sexual attack, it's just rubbing its little nose right there on your butthole, like it's going to come in. And then eventually you can feel it, like it starts making its way in. And then eventually, like once it gets past the big head, that's it. It's on, because there's nothing bigger behind the snake. So once the head gets in, then everything else, you feel it kind of slide in there. And another version of that attack is where the snake, once it gets in, you can feel it like going past your root chakra, then going out like your sacral chakra. And then you can feel it like it's almost like the snake splits into two heads. And then one of the heads goes after one testicle and one head goes after the other testicle and kind of like bites onto them. And then it also like, as it's like biting, so you have the almost the needle pain of it like latching onto your testicles. It's at the same time, it's actually moving through them. So it's not just biting on them, it's moving through them as it's biting them. It's so strange. And when it does, you're just going to erupt in the nastiest lust you've ever felt in your entire life. You wouldn't be safe to be around any female at that point because your mind has been hijacked. Your mind has been hijacked, and it's a drug. It is a drug. I have done, oh, I guess this video is terrible. I've done cocaine before, like in my younger, stupid, ridiculous, dummy days when I was running in sin. I've done cocaine. So I know what it's like to get like the cocaine belly, where you get like, you can feel it kind of like, and if you don't ever do cocaine, don't be an idiot like I was. But if you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's this cocaine, like it's like these butterflies in your stomach, and you're feeling squishy. Like it's like a good feeling, but in a bad way because you're doing something really horrible to yourself and others. But that's what it feels like. So this lust, it's not normal. It's literally a drug. You get addicted to it. As crazy as that sounds, that whole sexual tormenting process and that domination, it's also addicting because you're going to feel that like cocaine, that drug enticement. You know it's nasty and dirty, and it's also like spiritually and mentally addictive. As crazy as that sounds, it's all true. It's all true. And like I said, the one variation is where the snake head splits and then goes after one testicle, and then it like does its thing. It kind of like bites onto them and then flows through them at the same time. And that, you thought that sexual torment was bad. When that thing latches onto your testicles, you have never in your life felt anything like it. No human being should ever feel lust like that, ever, because nothing good will come of it. I mean, you're like so amped up, your heart's pounding, your adrenaline's going, your Johnson is literally dripping. You are so revved up to just mount something that you are dripping as a man. And this is while you're in pain. So it is a domination, lust, sex. And you've got this snake from another dimension, which apparently is not a good place because it's not doing good things to you. It's literally harming you. It swirled into a ball, expanded my stomach to where you could literally see, like, I looked like I was having a kid. Like my belly was like super extended from this snake. And then all of a sudden, like it dissipates. And then once it dissipates, it leaves behind air. So it came from this, which makes sense, right? It came from a dimension of air. I don't know if it's demonic air, but it's definitely cool air blowing out, like forcing out. As soon as that garage door opens, this thing, it comes out. And then I'm full of bloat. And I mean, it sucks. Ladies, even men, you know what bloating feels like. Even guys understand bloating. We all understand it. Females, you have to deal with it a lot more often. I apologize. I have a very good understanding. And I'm sorry. It doesn't feel good. It's not good. I don't like it. And you don't like it. And I wish we didn't have to deal with it, but we do. Thanks, Eve. Appreciate it. Um, so I'm filled with this absolute bloating at the same time my balls are just being ravaged. Sacs being destroyed. And you're sitting there and all you can do is like, oh God, all you want to do is get this gas out. And so you lean in on the right and you're sitting there and you're farting a little bit and you go lean on the left and you fart some more. And then you got to lay on your back. And trust me, you don't want to lay on your back when you've got a portal that's opened below your, like between your thighs. A portal to some dimension where demonic snakes crawl into your butthole and cause damage and attack your testicles. So sleeping on your stomach, or sleeping, who's sleeping this day? I'm not sleeping. I don't sleep a whole lot, but I'm laying on my stomach trying to get the gas out. And because the gas is in different pockets in your intestines, you can't just lay I can't just lay on my back. And granted, I don't want to lay on my back either because I've got this feminine spirit in me. And then I've got this other dimension where there's like a masculine entity that wants to like violate the feminine that's in me and like merge with it. So there's like this like demonic like male thing that's trying to like interact with this female spirit inside of me. And then it's like creating this super like not distended belly, but like super inflated, like someone put an air hose in me, just jacked me up with air and just filled me as full as they could get it. So it's like I've got like this air baby inside me. And like you're laying on your back. You don't want to lay on your back as a guy because you've got an entry point back there that's being attacked. You've also got a sac that's being attacked. Sac's getting attacked. Your butthole's getting attacked. You don't want to lay on your stomach. You don't want to lay on your side. That's another area of entry. You don't want to lay on your back. Then you're getting a more traditional female experience, which I completely understand. And, now I understand why men are like seeking sex a lot more than women are. I'm not saying that women don't enjoy it. I'm not a woman, right? I'm a guy. Got a female like, something inside me, but I'm a guy. I'm a normal guy. I'm a straight guy, but I'm having to go through this process for whatever reason. I don't know why I'm doing it. I don't know why it's happening, but I at least want to explain it to you. So I understand what it's like to be a female lying there on your back and like getting violated or penetrated, if you want to call it that, even though it's not physical, right? It's not like someone took this mouse and like jammed it in my butt. It's not that, but it is physical in a sense that you're going to know exactly what's going on. You're going to feel the little snake head. You're going to feel it when it finally gets through. You're going to feel the little like flower come out and the little petals and everything. Like it is physical to a certain degree. And as far as the ball pain and the nails, whatever that is, It's absolutely physical. You're going to 100% feel it and it's going to suck. But at the same time, you're being pumped up with a spiritual drug. So even though it's painful, you won't even admit that you like portions of it because you're being infected. You're being infected with a sexual hyper concentrated lust. It's like it'd be like regular lust for a guy would be like a cocoa leaf, right? A cocoa leaf, I think like some people they'll chew on it or whatever. I've heard of that. Like they'll chew on the leaves because they like the way it makes their like lips and their numbs gum. Like there's like some medicinal aspects to it, so they'll chew on the cocoa leaves. The difference is this is like a cocoa leaf when it's completely refined into something that is totally unnatural. It's totally concentrated into like cocaine, which makes people crazy, absolutely nuts. That's the level of lust that this will be infected. It's not the cocoa leaf. You're being infected with pure, unadulterated lust, the purest lust you could ever find. Like a snake, actually. That's weird. But like the purest love you could, or no, not love, lust. Um, the purest, unadulterated, concentrated lust. Like not the cocoa leaf of lust, like normal lust. No, 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 no. This is hyper refined cocaine. If lust was like purified down to 100% pure, nothing else, that's what this is. And like I said, you'll have that snake thing that like splits into two and goes after both testicles and flows through them. And then you have like it coils through your body and super inflates your body literally. You will literally see your stomach bow out, almost like you're having a kid down there, and it's just full of air. And then you're gonna sit there and be tormented because you're gonna want to get the gas out. But as a guy, and keep in mind, this is a like a subtle spiritual attack. If I don't know, ethereal, astral, whatever term you want to use for it. So I can't grab the snake, right? So all you guys like, well, how did you do? You can't grab it. It's not there. Like you will feel it penetrating you. You will feel it going into you and spinning around and biting you and doing all these things. But I can't grab it. I'm physical, right? I probably have a subtle body or whatever they call it. Ethereal. I don't know what the terms are, but I can't grab it. I can't cut the snake. I can't take a shovel and like it doesn't work. You can't do that. So there's really nothing you can do. You're defenseless, right? If I lay on my back, I'm in a traditional position, if you want to look at it like that, and I can be attacked frontally, like forwardly, like in a traditional position. If I lay on my side, it can come right in from the back. If I lay on that side, it comes right in from the back. You don't want to lay on your stomach. That's really asking for it, because then you know where it's going. Um, and this portal stays open for hours. That's what sucks about it, because once this thing opens, once that garage door is open, the first 15, 20 minutes, it's almost like a calling period. You know, it's like a lunch buffet. Like they wheel all the food out there and they open the tops and like you have like the steam of all the food like wafting through the air. That's what it is. Like this portal opens and it's like a lunch buffet. And James is on the menu. And this other dimension with this air blowing in, it's just like waiting. You're just waiting for something to show up and come through that hole and go into you. So I know like once that portal opens, I know what time it is. And at the same time, I'm going to be under a torment, a sexual torment, while the door is even being opened. Like while I'm being sexually tormented by the needles and the straws, those things, while that's going on, that's when the door opens. So it's like, hey, James, we're screwing you over. You're being demonically attacked. And guess what, buddy? It's about to get worse. And when it gets worse, it's going to stay worse for hours. Because once we're done and this snake's done jamming the living crap out of you, then it's going to inflate your body to a very unhealthy level and absolutely flood your GI tract and your that I don't know. I need to start studying like I really need to start studying the physical body, like the whole GI tract, that whole region down there. I need to really figure out how that works because then I can figure out like what it's attaching to, like whether that's the prostate or what it's actually going after. And then for hours you're going to be tossing and turning, and then as you're doing that, right? So as you're doing that, you're going to be getting penetrated by this snake because it doesn't just like show up and go in, like it can go in like multiple times. It can pretty much go wherever it wants, and it has a field day, so to speak, right? It's like a lunch buffet and James is on the menu. That door opens up and it's probably going to be 15 or 20 minutes of nice, cool, beautiful air just blowing on you. But then something's going to show up from that other dimension and it's going to crawl into your body and do some really nasty stuff, and you're not going to enjoy it. It's going to really suck. It's like hell. It's like a hellish torment is what I'm going through. And then after I get all that gas out, this is last night. I finally get all that. Not even no, it wasn't all. I still had this morning. I was still blowing gas out, so it wasn't all of it. But I'd gotten maybe 60% out through various, like this side, laying on my stomach, which I really don't want to do because that's just inviting even more torment in a nasty position. So I get most of it out. And then still, like when my brain waves calm down from like the heart pounding, my brain waves will calm down finally. I'm like, oh, thank God. I'm finally getting to sleep. This is amazing. And like 15 minutes of beautiful sleep, which is nothing if you think about like sleep cycles. That's why so much of this you have to like go back to like psychology and like biology and things like that and how it works. Like brain waves, that matters too. But as soon as I get to like where I'm kind of relaxed, that's when the claw comes in and rips me out of my sleep. And oh, there it is. You piece of crap. Oh. So so that's when the claw hits you, and then the like the needles and everything. Um oh, it's just whenever they want to. That's the crappy part. So and that's what happens. So you have that attack going on, and then like as soon as you get to sleep, they just rip you out of it and just start jamming your testicles and filling you with lust. And ugh, it's awful, but it's also a dominatrix thing. So it's like, and then there's like it's like a drug. Like you will feel in your stomach, it literally feels like cocaine. I don't know if that's like on purpose, but maybe because of my past drug usage, I'm like paying a sin for that, like it's a tax I'm paying. But it feels like you have like cocaine guts or cocaine belly or whatever they want to call it. Like they say, like when cocaine, like people like want to go poop or whatever, like after they've done it, it's kind of like a weird butterfly thing in your colon. It's so strange. I don't know, but it's a drug. It's a drug. It's an attack. It's this freaking snake thing crawls into your ass from like another dimension. And then that stupid portal, like once it's open and I can feel that air blowing on me, I'm just waiting on something from that dimension to come enter me and do bad things in my body and basically just torment me. It's going to do whatever it can. It's going to bite me. I get little bites all over my body. Like it bites me, it curls up in there. It literally infuses air into my intestines somehow, and it takes hours to get that stuff out. Ask anybody that works at like a Borland and Groover or whatever, any one of those places that works on a GI tract, like it takes a while to get all that gas out. And it's just it like purposely intentionally jams that gas into all these places it gets trapped, so you feel horrible. It's like the worst period you've ever had. If you can imagine like a really bad period that you've had, like all that bloating, and you just want to oh, you just want to get all that bloating out, and you're taking all those pills, like your water pills, and you're trying to like get all the water out of your body. Oh, and that's another thing. While all this is happening, and while I'm being fed on or whatever is going on, my body is purging water at a very unnatural, very strange level. I think it was last night or the night before. I literally, while I was getting sexually attacked all night, it goes on all day, like happens all the time whenever it wants to. But at night, it's constant. Once, I don't know what it is. During the day, it'll happen from time to time. It's happened sometimes during this video. But at night, for whatever reason, it's on and it doesn't stop. The only difference is you'll get lust attacked to the point where you're like rock just throbbing and dripping all over the place. And then finally it'll subside for a little bit. But I think that's part of the torment is so that you think it's over. And then as soon as you're like, oh, thank goodness that's over with. And then as soon as you think it's over with, that's when it comes back again. So it just keeps coming back, and it's a constant cycle of like rock hard and lust, and it goes down and it's dripping, and like it's sexual torture is what it is. It's sexual demonic torment, and it's like this damn snake. So any of you ladies out there that are doing yoga, I don't think men do yoga. As far as don't do yoga if you're a man either. But as far as yoga goes and this Kundalini snake, trust me, you don't want this thing showing up. You don't want that. This thing over here, right there, I have personal experience with that sucker. And I'll probably be dealing with him later on tonight. Because I know as soon as that garage door opens to that other dimension and the air starts blowing all over my sack and my thighs and everything in that whole region down there, right around my root, I know it's a calling. Like when that door opens, it's a lunch buffet and they're wheeling James out there and they're opening the things and like I'm basically being offered as a sexual offering, I guess you would say, like a sexual sacrifice. Like you're putting something out there as a sexual sacrifice, and then something from another dimension is going to come and just and ravage your body and leave you in a very poor state and intentionally inflates you like the Michelin Man. You're going to be like puffed up. It's like you're going to have an air baby inside of you, and you're going to have to like because of that, you're going to be forced to lay on your side and on your stomach, and you're going to try all these positions trying to get comfortable. And at the same time, you're going to have this demonic snake violating your ass and snapping onto your testicles and rushing through. And my gosh, when you just imagine all of it, you got the snake, and then you got the nails and everything, and the claw, all of that happening at the same time. You're not sleeping at all. You're going to maybe get 2 hours of sleep a night if you're lucky. If you're lucky, and that's not going to be 2 hours of constant sleep. They'll never let that happen. You're going to get 30 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. It's hard to say because my brain is fried. But you're going to get some amounts of sleep, maybe 2 hours if you put all the little chunks together. And every time you finally think it's over and you finally get some sleep, the claw is going to come out. Or the garage door, like I said, it stays open for hours and hours and hours. That thing doesn't close. Typically in the morning is when it shuts down. At night, the shop is open. Okay? For whatever reason, these demonic energies are very active at night. And once that gate goes open at night, it's not shutting until the morning. So you're going to constantly have that little air conditioning from hell just blowing all over your crotch. And these things come through that dimension, and they're going to enter you, and they're going to swirl around in you and create these snake balls inside of your body that expand your body. And you're going to feel like you're giving birth. Okay? You're going to feel like you are getting pumped. Like you're going to be like, oh, you're going to feel the fattest you've ever felt in your life because you're stuffed. You're like a little teddy bear in hell, and they're just stuffing you full of tissue or cotton or whatever. But they're going to make sure they stuff enough, like they're going to stuff enough for 2 bears into your one little bear. That's what's going to happen. It's going to really suck. And at the same time, you're going to have needles getting jammed into your scrotum. Your mind is going to be flooded with lustful thoughts. You're going to be harder than you've ever been in your life. You're going to be so enraged with lust, dirty, purified, 100% lust that you are literally going to sit there and you're just going to be dripping, right? You're going to have like I don't want to use the term, but you know what I mean. You're going to have pre-stuff, like you're going to be dripping with lust and you're getting violated by a snake from another dimension. So going back to my original point, should Christians do yoga? No. You don't want to be in these animal positions. You don't want to idolize an animal. You don't want to pretend that you're an animal. Hell no. No, 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 no. God created animals. I love animals. I'm a vegan. I don't hurt animals. I don't even hurt snakes. As much as this thing is destroying my innards every night, I would never hurt a snake. I won't do it. I'm not going to compromise my beliefs. Like, I don't want to harm anything. So if there's a snake outside, it's not that. That snake right there, or maybe not that exact one, but it's from another dimension. It's from another place that's unseen. It's from an unseen realm full of air, and that air comes flying out. And when the little garage door opens, I know what's going to happen. It's going to be open until morning. Once that thing opens up, it's like a lunch buffet, and I'm on the menu. And it's going to keep attacking me over and over and over, and I'm going to get almost no sleep. And that's going to go on until morning. Oh, all right, I got to wrap this up. I think that's enough. I probably disgusted you to this point. Should I make this video? No. Is it going to change your opinion of me? Yes, it probably will. Is it going to open your mind to what is possible and that there are other places that you cannot see that are really bad and they're full of really bad things that want to hurt you? I hope that that's true. I hope that you understand that because of me explaining this, because this is real. My thighs, my scrotum literally gets cold, physically cool. I'm up maybe 10 times a night peeing. And I'm not talking about normal peeing like a guy, oh, his prostate's whatever, he's going to pee and like you have like 20% volume, 30%. No, 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 no. I'm talking about full-on water purge. I'm talking about going to the bathroom 10 times a night. And when you go, it's a full pee. Like what you can imagine your bladder can possibly hold, however much you think your bladder can hold, it's all of it. It's a full dump. Like 10 times a night, you're up constantly running to the bathroom if you're not busy being violated as you're dripping all over your bed from this sexual attack and these demonic entities that literally crawl into your ass from another dimension. But thankfully, the door closes. Like in the morning, the little shop door is always closed. So I don't know, whatever these energies are, they don't like the daytime, at least where I am. So I get a break during the day. At night, I'm basically like a sexual concubine, just getting destroyed in various ways. Like I said, there's two different aspects. You've got the snake thing, which is very unique, even though it does attack the testicles, it does attack the inside body. It definitely hits your root chakra. It definitely hits your sacral. I don't know. The solar plexus, it blows up my body so big and inflates me so much that I do feel it in my solar plexus. So it does go up that high. But the main focus is going to be like that root and that sacral, that area. You're going to look like the Michelin Man. Okay. That snake is going to curl up into a ball so tight, and then somehow it keeps curling over and over. And as it's curling, it's growing. It's very strange, but it's curling over and over in itself, and it's growing. And your intestinal cavity is just being stretched out. You're like a teddy bear that's got enough stuffing for 2 teddy bears, and they're all going to get in there. So that's my life. That's what's going on. And I wanted you to understand that. So for whatever that's worth to you, I want you to understand the torment that I'm going through. And as long as the torment I'm going through informs you so that you can make better decisions about your eternity, then it's worth it. So I don't mind bearing my cross. Crosses, there's many of them, and I bear them every single day. I don't mind doing that. Not like I have a choice anyway, but I honestly don't mind doing it if it helps you. So if my pain helps you, then as far as I'm concerned with God, I'm good. I'll give up this body. I will have that hand absolutely crushing my balls and those needles and everything. I'll deal with that every single night and throughout the day. And this snake crawling around in me every single night, having its way with me and barely getting any sleep at all. I have to deal with it anyway. It's the cross I have to bear, so I'm going to bear it. I'm not going to go against God. You know, why God's allowing it, I don't know. Maybe because of my past sins, maybe because of my current sins, definitely for your benefit, if nothing else. Even if it was only for your benefit and it had nothing to do with me, even if that was the case, it would be worth it. So I know Jesus is like, God, why have you forsaken me? I understand why he said it. I do. And I'm not going to condemn the man. Hey, he walked his path and I'm going to walk mine. He went through a lot. The only difference with Jesus is that, yes, he was rejected by the world, but, and I'm not saying that my pain is worth more than Jesus's pain. I'm not saying that. I'm just explaining that when he went up on the cross, it was a day, right? Or half a day that he was up there. And I'm going to get destroyed here, it looks like, for years. I don't know how long this is going to go on. It's been going on for a while now. 2026 is next year. I don't think anything's going to change anytime soon. So this is going to be a problem for a while. So it really sucks. Positives, you're learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. God's kingdom is being spread amongst the world. The Bible is being preached. Everyone knows who Jesus was, why he came down here, why he bared his cross. He bared his cross for our sins. It doesn't absolve us of our sins. We used to have to absolve ourselves of sins, but in the time that Jesus was there and that happened, they had a sacrificial system for animals, right? They thought that if they sacrificed the animals, it would absolve them of their sin, which is why Jesus had to walk the path he did, because that is what they believed at the time. So did he die for our sins? In that context of animal sacrifice, which doesn't work. But that's how God chose to tell the story. Perfectly fine. It worked. Jesus was preached around the world. Christianity went around the world. You got the saints and the angels and the martyrs and the popes and the bishops and the pastors and the priests and the friars and everyone, the monks, everyone, right? It's all Christianity. So it worked. It did work. God's plan did work, and it's still working, right? Because now we have the continuation of that sacrificial story in a very different way. It sucks for me, but you know what? It is what it is. And if God wants me to bear this cup, if that's the cup I have to bear, as awful and humiliating and disgraceful and disgusting as this cup is, it's a filthy ass cup. As disgusting as it is, I'll bear it. And if it benefits the rest of the world because they realize what is on the line with your life here and the decisions you make and whether you choose to follow God's covenant or not, then it's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. If my pain saves your soul, then I'm not going to complain. You know, the rest of today, like it's happened in this video, and it'll continue to happen throughout the day, I'm going to get attacked. Tonight, that garage door is going to come open. I'll still be getting attacked when I lay down tonight. It really gets bad when I lay in bed. Really bad. That's like a dinner bell. It's like ding, 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 ding. It's like a little dinner bell. So once I lay down, which I have to lay down to sleep, I can't hang from the ceiling. So once I lay down to sleep, I'll be getting lust attacked. It'll be horrible. I'll have the needles in my testicles. All that crap's going to happen. Heart will be pounding. I'll be dripping all that's going to happen. And then the garage door is going to open. And then I know what's coming. This stupid snake from this other dimension, this dimension of like air or whatever it is, it's going to come through and get in my body and absolutely ravage me. It's going to ravage me. And then while it's doing that, like, I don't even know what ovaries feel like, but I can feel like my ovaries and everything, like, it feels like I've got like a woman inside of me, but I'm a man. But the woman that's inside me is like an astral, like, spirit. But I can feel her physical body and I can feel her pain. So I can feel her pains. She's like that feminine flower energy or whatever that somehow merges with this snake. And I don't understand it all. I'm just going to explain it to you and then y'all can try to figure it out. But as best I can tell, I'm going to have to put up with this for a while. This is not going to be, I don't want to get scourged. Gosh, that's like the worst thing could ever happen to someone, to get scourged. It's like those hooks and everything. It's like ripping your flesh out. It's so bad that people like can't even walk afterwards. Like people die. You will literally die from a scourge. The pain, the torture, the shock, all of it, the infection, all of that. So he was scourged and he went up on a cross, but it all happened like within a day, So his was way more painful physically, but for a shorter amount of time. Mine it's absolutely physical pain. If you're a guy and you imagine someone jamming needles into your testicles and then grabbing it and squeezing it as hard as they can just to piss you off, it's really painful. For a woman, I don't know I guess someone just grabbing your ovaries and just clamping down as hard as they could, that might be similar. Oh boy, this is almost 2 hours. I had to cut this. I'm sorry, guys. This ran long. Apologize. It's a very unique video. I hope you enjoy it. Take the time to watch it in detail. This is real. This is really happening. So, like I said, if my pain leads to your salvation, then I won't complain. It is what it is. God is allowing it for whatever reason, and I'm just going to assume that this is going to be for everyone's benefit. And if I get to save a whole bunch of people through my pain, through my cross, then I have no issue with it. This is the cup that God gave me to drink, and I'll drink it. So be it. The worst you can do is terrorize my organs for the rest of my life. So for however long I live, maybe I have to get terrorized like this every night. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I hope this gets resolved in the next year or two or something. I hope so, but maybe not. Maybe this is the cross I have to bear, and it's just going to really suck every single day of the rest of my life for as long as that is. But if that leads to millions and billions of saved souls, then I'll say the pain was worth it. And I'll thank God for letting it happen, because eventually this body will perish and all of my pain will cease and I'll go to heaven and I'll be with the saints and the angels and everybody else. And that'll make it worth it. So that's it. So please don't wear yoga pants. Don't do yoga. Should Christians do yoga? Absolutely not. Do not do yoga. You are not an animal. As much as I like animals, and this is a lesson I've had to learn as a vegan. Like, I don't idolize animals. I do like them. I do want to protect them. They're part of God's creation. I like the little critters, just like cats. I like cats a lot. Great. But you know what? The only reason I like cats is because I'm bigger than a cat. If I was the size of a squirrel or a lizard or a bird or a butterfly or anything else that my cats love to destroy, I wouldn't like them. I only like my cats because I'm bigger than they are and they don't mess with me. If my cat was the size of like a 300 or 400 pound tiger, I don't think our relationship would be the same. And if I raised it, it'd be different. But don't emulate animals. We are not animals. We are human beings. We should not act like animals. We are made in the image of God, and we are to be held to that standard so that we can become perfect and we can be reunified with God. So you can appreciate animals, you can like animals, you can absolutely protect them because we don't want to do any harm, right? I don't do any harm. I get harmed constantly, and it is what it is. If God wants to allow it, maybe it's my past sins, I don't know. But it's my cup and I'll drink it. So this is me drinking my cup, and I will drink it for you. So just remember that God does love us. He wants to help us. He wants to teach us, and he wants to show us how to get home. So have a great Sunday, and just remember God does love us. Even when times are bad, the bad doesn't last forever.